I'm Alexis Williamson. I am CEO and also founder of Life.Cafe. And Life.Cafe is a guided peer-funded action plan, so we're able to fund life events at 0% interest without any credit check, which is pretty impressive, and being able to do it through a software subscription. So just to kind of, since the theme of the event this evening is around blockchain, we'd like to clarify that we're looking more into a distributed ledger technology solutions. Blockchain, of course, is one option, but we're looking at the options that will scale globally because that's really important to our company. So DLT is to FinTech as fire was to humans. I mean, this is just an evolution. This is what's going to bring us into the next future for so many industries. And so we want people to really kind of take this frame shift and understand and trust it in terms of the tool. And now it's, what do we do with this tool? So you can do many things with fire. They were able to do things to cook meat. They were able to, of course, have bacteria be eliminated, things that would allow us to be able to live totally different types of lives. So in terms of what we are doing, the DLT is going to allow us to have a whole new way to fund our life events and to exist. So the Neanderthal financial institutions, they know they're facing this basically extinction. That's one of the reasons that they are the largest groups investing in FinTech and these solutions. You might hear things in the media that are, of course, oh, we don't know about it yet, we're hesitant of it. Well, while you're putting your money one place and saying it's going another, I think we like to follow people's actions. So that's something to keep in mind as we look at what we're doing. So this is just an example of the FinTech. There are 100 companies in 2015 alone, and you can see all the different variety areas of finance that they're investing. So this is proof in the pudding. So how we got there, this is not something that happened overnight. Blockchain is not new. This is something that has been a technology that's been around, but again, finding business models that actually have utility and are using it to what their business is doing is really important. And Life.Cafe has spent a lot of time around the economic sustainability of our model and the business model itself. So a lot of these different evolutions through time, you may or may not have been familiar. We just wanted to show this slide so that you could see the progression of all the various tools that now, if we combine in an ecosystem, allow us to do what we're doing today. So the social need to reduce debt is definitely an issue. This is right now, just last week, CNN had put this on that the millennials have more than $42,000 in debt. And everyone automatically thinks, oh, it's student loans and all these things. No, it's credit card debt. It's predatory lending. They have to do payday cash advances. They're getting paid in a gig economy. Now they're working for Uber or they're a temporary consultant. So we have all these digital ways of earning money, but we don't have a digital way to actually be able to operate in society and be loaned on that money. So this is the situation that we're facing. We're seeing these numbers all the time, and it's growing. So in a digital economy, how are we going to verify someone to be able to pay? And it's putting a lot of people into debt because they are being taken advantage of because of that situation. So 18 to 34 are definitely the early adapters of FinTech. So this is who is going to be using Life.Cafe. This is who's going to be putting in and trust into the system. So perhaps your parents or grandparents are used to the banks and loans and believe, very different things from a different economic time, but the reality of our future is that young people realize that they need to have other alternatives to be able to survive and invest in themselves and their future. So that's something that is really important. And we want to definitely ask the question to all the investors in the room, have you hedged your bets? This is a transition point. So whether you believe it's going to happen or not, it's something that is a reality in the market. So have you acknowledged that in your portfolio, or are you still heavily invested into things that are definitely more proven over the last 50 to 100 years? So FinTech is an ecosystem. And it's really important to understand where we exist in the ecosystem. A lot of questions that we might be answering later. I just want you to take a look at this because we're specifically in the lending area. So currently in lending for FinTech, there are P2P loans. Those loan systems, and probably the closest in terms of our FinTech competitors, are charging interest. So they're mitigating risk on the front end. They're assessing that the lender will be able to earn money off of the people who are borrowing. So that's where the 10%, 15%, 30% loans are really the alternative and option. What we're doing is we're creating a whole new category. We have P2P buying power. And the buying power is a really important differentiation. In terms of what Life.Cafe is doing, borrowers will actually be paying a monthly subscription. So this is now a software subscription. And at a monthly rate, they can pay into the system and have access to buying power. So Life.Cafe is a platform that's going to help create a custom action plan for them, all the steps that they need to organize their life and to achieve their goals. And along the way, it's going to connect them to the local resources and vendors worldwide. And those vendors can be paid through the buying power. So now you don't have to have cash on hand. So you will have a Life.Cafe credit card, and that credit card, as long as your subscription is paid and as long as you're in the system working at the right step, we're controlling the release of that buying power, and we're helping you guide through the system. Banks would love to have the opportunity to see where you're spending the money that they just lent you. So we mitigate the risk on the back end. So this is how we do it. We guide you through the event. There are many different events. We're launching with 5. The main areas are starting a business, getting married, buying a house, organizing your life, and these events here will be continuously added onto. So we have experts that have inputted in the back end their processes. So this is the A to Z that every industry has. It helps them communicate their personal process. So we have white labels where your company or your industry operates a certain way and you want to guide your customers through that experience. We can create that safe branded area for you to do that, or you could go through Life.Cafe and be able to do it that way as well. So then it connects you to milestones, which are adapting to who you are. So we have the ability now to not just have a checklist. You don't need to Google and go through all these different websites and editors and all these different competing for your attention, and really based on advertising dollars. Now you have integrity of experts in the industry saying, based on the questions you've answered as we've gone along, we're going to give you what we feel is the right step for you. You could choose to follow it or not, but if you have buying power in the system, you'll actually be able to pay for that step once you get to this point of connecting with the local vendors. So what's really critical to why we can do this, and no one's done this before, is because we know the user's buying cycle. This is going to be the first time that we actually know the information about the user at the moment of purchase. And not only what they're doing at the moment of purchase, but what they're going to be doing next. And so this predictive analytics gives us a lot of power and a lot of data. And it's that data that we're able to now mitigate the risk, and also on a global scale, allow all of our subscriptions to fund each other in peer-to-peer buying power. So the machine learning combined, this is an example, really kind of a generic outline of what our system does. But one thing that's really important is that you'll notice that our cryptocurrency is isolated. So everything within the purple area shows that if a country is not dealing in cryptocurrency or cannot be involved in that particular point, they can still have users in the system pay their vendors using the credit card. So once we receive the subscription, we invest into our own ICO, which will be Life tokens, and then the value of Life tokens as we lend more in the buying power out to people, the value of the token will go up. So as long as there's a need for people to need more buying power, then our value of our coin will be constantly going up. So we make money on the exchange fees when they go to the vendors. So this is similar to now they don't have to have credit card processing fees. So instead of paying their merchant services, which they're used to paying right now, Life.Cafe will create basically the exchange fee at that point, and that'll be using other third-party providers such as WeChat or PayPal that will actually convert that into fiat money. So we stay completely isolated from that part of it. So vendors can accept tokens because there's a lot of incentive that if you're accepting tokens, the value of that will go up. So you might want to sit on it a little bit, or maybe even pay some of your suppliers using the tokens. So we make money on the arbitrage and on the fees. So the challenge is, oops, go back there, press the wrong button. The challenges of Life.Cafe are really the challenges we wanted to present, are the challenges in general of the ledger system that the ledger system really solves, which is the technology integration. So having an app that's easy to use, to the user, they're completely isolated. They have no awareness of the cryptocurrency, the token. They have no awareness of how this happens. They just are, I want to plan an event. And then they have a few questions. And then they go through. And then they can wander around, connect to the vendors. And in that whole process, they're going to be offered buying power. So this is super simple, and there isn't a process out there that's this fast and this simple for users to immediately start working and achieving their life goals. The security and privacy challenge, of course, is really important. One thing that Life.Cafe is doing is that we are able to use their information only based on your relevance. So right now, if you were to search for information or tips or vendors, you're going to type in a search on the internet, and that's going to be a combination of a relevancy search as well as paid advertising. So the integrity of our system is that we're able to do the search based totally on relevancy to help you achieve your goals. So it's always user first in mind. And the risk management challenge we have is that we're actually offering buying power versus a cash loan, which is a whole new model, and improving the success rate with the expert guided advice. So again, we're not just giving money and hope that you spend it wisely. And that controlled spending. Our token acts as more of a Federal Reserve, and definitely in terms of when we do launch and put our white papers out, it's really important because our platform will exist, we will have users in the system, it will be a proven product before our white paper goes out. And the proprietary machine learning and real-time life cycle data, this is all meant to benefit the user. So we're not selling that to a third party. So the global market flow allows the resources to be continuous and flowing. And basically, to conclude, we want you to definitely, as investors, evolve with us. Don't be a Neanderthal and invest in the future, because this is where we're definitely going. So keep it simple. We're just switching paper ledgers to bytes. It's something you should be very comfortable with and how it's worked for thousands of years. It's definitely a long-term strategy, and we have the digital tools, so let's use it and help us bring Life.Cafe to the world.